why he believes some journalists may be crying crocodile tears following murder of a Fantiman MP.
You voted for us, but you hate parliamentarians, partly because some of you, the media, you incite the general public against us. How many of the MPs do you want them to be killed? I don't think you are happy that our brother Kwanzaa has been killed, or you are shedding crocodile tears.
Also tonight, leadership of Parliament considers fate of MPP MP for Fomena, who has filed to contest a seat as an independent candidate and has since been sacked by the party. The MPP is asking him to vacate his seat in Parliament.
For now, he's walking on a limping leg. He's a limping candidate now.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah. And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. The future is exciting ready. Tonight, members of Parliament unite in defense of government's decision to deploy 200 armed police officers to provide them with personal protection. The Deputy Defense Minister, Derek Odro, has launched a scathing attack on the media for allegedly inciting public hatred against members of Parliament. He alleges that some journalists may be crying crocodile tears in the wake of the murder of the Fantiman MP Echo Hayford. Now, there has been mixed reactions, with one majority of the public raising concerns about the decision by the government to provide personal security, deploying 200 police officers to guard members of Parliament in the midst of the sense of the general insecurity. The government had denied that, insisting that armed robbery attacks alone had improved by more than 50%. But listen to the Deputy Defense Minister addressing journalists today, and in a conversation with my parliamentary correspondent Joseph Gakpo, as he mounted that defense, but also making the point about the role of journalists in making MPs one of the most hated in the country.
As if we are from Congo River Basin, we are brought to come and put down here to serve the nation. Meanwhile, you voted for us. You're supposed to love us, get us closer to you. But you hate parliamentarians. And it's partly because some of you, the media, you incite the general public against us. We must be frank. So, the Interior Minister is saying that, yes, they have enough police people to provide security for MPs and provide security for the whole nation. That is why we have been given, and we are thankful to the government of the day that today he has listened to us. How many of the MPs do you want them to be killed? Before we ask of this personal security for MPs. I don't think you are happy that our brother Kwanzaa has been killed. I don't think you are, or you are shedding crocodile tears. Yes. Or do you want JB Dankwa? You would have. He wouldn't have been killed if he had the security for himself. So we are saying that the law says that we should be giving. Don't give two and leave one. Okay, this is all that we are saying. And it shouldn't be annoying that we ask for what we are required. That is what we need, and that is what the law says give us.
But okay? the concern being raised by security experts like
I don't want to hear security experts. I'm also a security expert.
That's fine. But for example, they make the case that if you are taking 200 men of patrol duties, visibility duties, in the long term, 800 of them, certainly operational police work will be affected.
What work have they done? I wouldn't allow you to stop. I am saying that they are visible all over the place. The Interior Minister is saying that he has no problem. You, the security expert, you are sitting somewhere and say we have problem. Last week, how many policemen passed out? Almost 2,000. Every 6 months they pass out, and you are saying that we don't have enough policemen. They cannot be adequate. 100%. Listen to me. They cannot be 100%.
Estimation is that we have more than enough.
We don't have every. I am saying that 200 that doesn't cause any harm to the police authorities. They don't have any problem. They are there. They say they don't have any problem. You are sitting somewhere and say I'm a security expert, and they have problems.
He appears to understand how this works.
He appears to misunderstand. He appears to misunderstand what you are saying. He doesn't understand the situation. How can you say that until and unless all the parliamentarians come to realization or think are able to solve the problems of the killings in the country, are we responsible for the killing of the people? We make laws. We make sure that government should sit up and make sure that everybody gets adequate protection. So if something happens, we call them to parliament for them to come and answer. That is our responsibility. We don't have cane here to whip. We don't have, listen to me, we don't have cane here to whip sector ministers.
Just about a month ago, a university professor was killed in his home, and that is being dealt with. So then,
that is being what?
That is being dealt with by the
police. No, I'm also interviewing you.
Yeah, but the police say they are investigating.
Okay.
But the other argument being made is that should university professors also be asking for protection in the light of this? Just because they lost one of their own, after you the MPs lost one of their own.
Quote the law for me that university professors must be given personal security. Where? You find the Ghanaian statutes. Ghanaian law, where?
Then it means that Parliament.
You have the question, let me answer him.
We should be concerned to enact laws to take care of these people.
Bring the idea. You are okro mouth. Okro mouth in the sense that whatever comes to you about you, throw it out. So let it come out of your mouth that yes, Parliament make laws that university professors must be given security. That media, every person, you holding your mic here into my mouth, you want to punch my mouth.
You need to know where you are pushing this whole argument.
So it's not everybody. It's not everybody. Listen to me.
Are getting the protection based on the fact that they are like
talk. I must answer. Otherwise, I won't listen to your question again.
Go ahead.
You talk and then you don't want me to answer, and then somebody will pick it up. He couldn't answer that question. I am not the type. I am saying that the law makes provision. The law that we have has made provision for security for members of parliament, security for Article 71 office holders, period.
And that there was the Deputy Defense Minister, Major Derek Odro. On the telephone line with me right now is the Executive Director with the Media Foundation for West Africa, Mr. Suleiman Abrahama, joins us on the line. Thank you very much, Mr. Abrahama, for your time here on Top Story.
Thank you for having me.
So this is his point.
You voted for us, but you hate parliamentarians, partly because some of you, the media, you incite the general public against us. How many of the MPs do you want them to be killed? I don't think you are happy that our brother Kwanzaa has been killed, or you are shedding crocodile tears.
Do you agree with him?
Well, Evans, it's quite surprising to hear the Deputy Minister speak the way he spoke. Of course, no life should be lost. One life lost is just too many, and no one should be happy that even one parliamentarian loses their life. But in the same way, every life should matter. Every Ghanaian life, in fact, not just Ghanaians, every individual's life should matter. And when he talks about the fact that people voted for them to go to parliament, they voted for them to go to parliament to represent their interests. And only yesterday, I read about a fuel attendant who had been shot. Today, I've read about another incident in the Ashanti region. Your correspondent referred to the incident involving the university professor. If you go online, 2020 alone, you will come across several instances where people have been shot and killed by armed robbers. The question the Deputy Minister should be asking is, how long do we want to wait for Ghanaians to die? How many Ghanaians should die before we consider it an important issue? So I think it is just an example of the disregard that our leaders have for the ordinary citizens. And in this case, it is their lives that matter. And I'm sure that if you were to push him, he would say that he's likely to say that his life matters more than the people who voted for him to come and represent him.
In fact, I've heard one MP this week use the words, they are special species. And his justification for using that phrase is that because we cannot all be in Parliament to do the business of legislating, we have elected one person, and that by virtue of doing that, we, the people, admit that he, the MP that we've elected, is special. He's a special species, and then therefore deserves the special protection.
Well, I think people can describe themselves in whatever ways they deem fit. What the question that we all need to be asking, or the MPs need to be asking themselves, is why would MPs be subjects of target? I mean, by criminals. Why would people be targeting members of parliament? Why would people not be targeting, any other individual? And indeed, we do know that after December 7, certainly some MPs would cease to be members of parliament. Either they are not contesting or they will lose their seats. Does that mean that automatically when they lose their seats, they no longer require the security that they are talking about? I think that if we are in a country where we have safety, nobody will be talking about the fact that MPs deserve security or special arrangement and so on and so forth. The point we are making is that every Ghanaian needs to be safe. That's all that people are saying. And he's saying that the media are inciting the public against Parliament. I think what he was doing was rather to incite parliamentarians against the public. At the media, if the decision is a popular decision, even if the media or journalists are opposed to it, people would stand up against the media. It is only because the issue is one that is unpopular and I think a bad decision. That is why the media are just basically resonating what is coming from the public. It is not the media that is creating the stories. The media are just speaking to people, and it is what people feel, what people think, that is just being amplified by the media. And therefore, there is no point in saying that the media are inciting members of the public against parliamentarians. I don't think that it is tenable at all.
Yeah, I mean, he also makes the point that the public hates them. And I don't know how he gets that impression, but he strongly believes that the public hates them because we incite them. I mean, I know you monitor the airwaves, and you're doing so, again, the lead up to the elections. In the last few days that this matter had come up, I mean, apart from asking questions, which we do, have you seen any or monitored any media outlet that out of its way deliberately incites public hatred against the MPs or members of parliament?
Well, I haven't read any editorial, and I refer to editorial because you would say that is the opinion of a media organization. I haven't read any editorial that opposes this arrangement or seeks to pitch the public against parliamentarians. I haven't heard any discussions that are just about or among journalists publicly saying that the public should rise up against this decision that was being considered and has now been made. So when your producer called me, for example, I was asking him, did he make any specific reference to any particular media publication or broadcast in saying that the media are inciting the public against parliamentarians? Well, it is quite revealing that a deputy minister for defense, who I suppose is also a member of parliament, would say that members of the public hate parliamentarians. I think we should be asking ourselves, why so? Because it is the same people who elected them there, and possibly he would be going back to seek re-election. So if members of his constituency, people in his constituency hate him, then why is he going to put himself up for another election? I think that it is quite revealing, and perhaps we should probe more for him to tell us why he's come to the conclusion that members of the public hate parliamentarians. If it is true, there must be a reason, but I don't know if that is true.
On the balance of probability, which is more probable, that the media is inciting this hatred or the MPs brought this upon themselves?
Well, I think that if what I know is that it is an unpopular decision among members of the public, and it is not because they hate MPs. It is because they feel the general safety situation in the country is not the best, and instead of members of working in ways that will guarantee the safety of all, they are now, working to guarantee their own safety. It's almost like being in the house with your kids, and then your roof is leaking, and instead of trying to fix the roof, what you do is that because you are an adult and you can sort out yourself, you try to sort out yourself and leave your kids to suffer. That is what the MPs are doing, and that is what members of the public are saying. It is not out of hatred, it is just out of concern, and it is the fact that they feel members of parliament who should represent their interests are now abdicating that and representing their own interest.
Yeah,
it is not a matter of hatred.
And just very finally, the minority leader also had a bite at this. This is his point.
MPs are citizens of Ghana, basic. Like any other citizen of Ghana, they deserve the protection of their personal safety and security. What Parliament is simply doing, arising out of a need, is to demand an elevation for the personal protection of MPs within the meaning of the privileges and facilities guaranteed them as Article 71 office holders.
Should professors at the university be asking the same after one of their colleagues was also killed?
They are citizens of Ghana. Thank you.
So they are citizens, and so they deserve the protection as well, he argues.
Well, I think the people who voted for them are also citizens of the land, and they equally deserve an elevation of protection for their individual lives and individual liberties as prescribed by the Constitution and the privileges that they must enjoy as citizens of this country. The fact that one is elected to be a member of parliament, I think, as I did say before, is that you need to do things that will represent the interests of your people. By now, what the majority of people expect is that the members of parliament would have been summoning the interior minister to come and respond to questions why the safety situation in the country is deteriorating, summoning the IGP to come and explain what steps are being taken to ensure that the safety of people in Ghana would be guaranteed. But what they are doing now is that, well, everybody or everyone is concerned about their safety, but since we have a position and the privilege to fight for ourselves and demand that our protection is, elevated to a certain level, let us do that. The rest of them, let them sort out their own problem. And I don't think that is why we vote people to become members of parliament, just to represent their own interests rather than representing the collective interest of all of us as citizens. I'm
grateful. That is Suleiman Abrama. He is the Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa. Still in Parliament, a story we're watching for you closely, and it's playing out between the NPP and its Member of Parliament for Fomena, who has decided to file as an independent candidate in the December 7th elections. He is already in Parliament, by the way, on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party. The party, we understand, yesterday issued a statement saying they've written to the Speaker of Parliament, alerting him and triggering Article 97, demanding that this particular MP vacate his seat, because that's what the Constitution says must happen if you cross carpet or become an independent candidate away from the party that on whose ticket you came to Parliament. Well, today we are learning a bit more. It appears the leadership of the House from both sides agree something must happen. Listen to Harun Idrisu.
For now, he's walking on a limping leg. He's a limping candidate now. He is suspending in the air whether he is, so to speak, a member of the New Patriotic Party. He has so been sacked, whether he should be recognized as member of parliament on the ticket of the party that brought him. That is why political parties will formally write to the Electoral Commission that they are supportive and behind this candidate. So we will construe it whether this is an action that is futuristic or an action that we can walk back with time. We advise you accordingly. God bless.
I want to bring in my parliamentary correspondent. Joseph, the MPP issued a statement yesterday saying they've written to the Speaker. Do we know if this has formally come to the attention of the House or Speaker and this has been made formally known to MPs?
At least it's not been raised on the floor of the House yet. I've been asking around a bit for copies of a copy of that particular letter, but yet to get hold of it. In fact, I asked the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, and he indicated that leadership has started a conversation on this issue and what the way forward should be, except that he hasn't seen a copy of the letter himself yet.
We are studying the Fomina case very well, and we are studying it within the meaning of Article 112, marrying it with the provisions of Article 94, whether he has become independent. He did not walk to Parliament as independent, and whether the sacking by his party makes him an independent candidate. What his status would be within Parliament is a matter that we are studying very carefully with our constitutional law advisors.
It is categorical that once you leave the party that brought you, then automatically the seat has to be vacated.
In this matter, did he leave or he was sacked? Leaving means he took a voluntary act. This is an involuntary act. That's why I say we are studying it. When we are conclusive with our finding, we make public what we think, whether he should be vacating his seat or he should continue to be a member of Parliament. I understand that there's some correspondence to the Speaker of Parliament.
Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it yet. Once we study it, we'll study it within the context of Article 112 and 94.
So that is the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu. And something to clarify here. On the subject of the Member of Parliament in question, Andrew Marco Esiama, and the controversy surrounding whether he can still hold on to his seat, he was sacked by the party only because he went ahead to file as an independent candidate. That's why the party decided that if you file as an independent candidate, and the party says they tried to resolve this and get him to sort of rescind or change his mind, but he ignored party advice and interventions and went ahead and filed, and nominations have now closed. The filing is done. He's now an independent. He's going to run as an independent candidate, although he is in Parliament until this Parliament's term expires as an NPP MP. And they say Article 97 is clear that a member of Parliament shall vacate his seat in Parliament if he runs as an independent candidate away from the party that brought him into Parliament. Let's interrogate this a bit more. I want to bring in lawyer and lecturer at the University of Ghana Law School, Clara Berry Kasati. Thank you very much, madam, for your time here on Top Story.
Thank you very much for having me.
What do you make of this?
Good evening to your listeners.
Yes. What do you make of this?
It's quite an interesting happening, in the sense that if the facts as I got them from you and the minority leader is that not that he resigned, but that he was sacked by his party. And then the reasons they are asking him for to vacate the seat is based on Article 97. Now, if you look at Article 97, it appears they are coming directly under Article 97(1)(g). Either F or G would apply, in the sense that, if I could just read them quickly, if he resigns, that a member shall vacate his seat in Parliament. F, if he resigns from office as a member of Parliament by writing under his hand addressed to him, or G, if he leaves the party of which he is a member, or he was a member at the time of his election, and then join another party or seek to remain in Parliament as an independent candidate. Three questions therefore arise. The first question is, has he resigned from his party, which is no. Has he left the party? And then the third one, does he seek to remain in Parliament as an independent candidate? Now, from the facts that have been given, I don't get the impression, I didn't understand that he has sought to remain in Parliament as an independent candidate. That in the next election, or the general election, he will be contesting as a member. So for the third question, that would mean that he has not sought to remain in Parliament as an independent candidate. But there remains a second question, which is whether he has left the party. I think this can be interpreted either way. If the fact that he has been sacked, but then he could raise the defense also as well that he has not left. So yes, it does appear this is one of the situations where the Supreme Court, if push comes to shove, might need to look at. But for me, the key question here is: can we say by virtue of being fired by his party, he has left the party?
Let me ask for this clarity. The party sacked him because he filed first to contest as an independent candidate. And the party says if you file to contest as an independent candidate, it violates the party constitution, which says the penalty for that is you cease to be a member. And so he was only sacked because he chose to file as an independent candidate, although he's already a member of the party, a member of parliament on a ticket to the MPP. Does that change anything?
Well, not very much, because the question he can argue is whether or not he has left the party. If you ask me, I think that once he's no longer a member of the party, he isn't a member of the party. If he has been sacked, he cannot claim to be a member of the party. And if he's not a member of the party, he's not entitled to say he's representing the party in parliament in that regard. But if you also look at his rights, yes, like I said, the main question really comes back to, under Article 97, can we say he has left the party? If we answer that question in the affirmative, yes, I think the Speaker has a point, or there are grounds to seek for him to vacate. If we answer that question in the negative, then it means that it wouldn't be applicable.
Okay, and then there is a second leg of complication then, if you answer it in affirmative, which is that then the Constitution says vacate. If it does vacate, we have less than 60 days on election. You will be left with the people of Formina with that representation for at least 2 months, right? Exactly. And you cannot hold a by-election to get a replacement, because the Constitution says you cannot do that with the time frame you have to an election. So then that introduces another leg of complication.
Exactly, because the Constitution is very clear that if a by-election is within 3 months of a general election, then it should not be held. So what that would mean would then be that the people of Formina will not be represented. So I think the best situation here would be for the parties to sit down probably and agree amongst themselves whether they are just going to let the 3 months go, or they will insist on asking him to vacate, which of course would mean that the people of Formina will be without representation until the next general election.
I am grateful that we got to pick your brain on this. That's Clara Berry Kasati, law lecturer with the University of Ghana. Grateful. What do you make of all this? Send me your WhatsApp. Share it with the rest of the world very shortly. 055 11 11 997. Isn't it amazing when your network cares about you so much that they do amazing things for you? You guessed it. I'm talking about the Vodafone cash dropping all charges when you send money to all networks. Yes, you heard it right. It costs nothing, absolutely nothing, when you send money via Vodafone cash to all networks. Just send any amount as many times as you want to any network and pay zero charges on the money sent. So go ahead, make payments, show your love, make contributions, send money all you want via Vodafone cash to all networks for free. Dial *110# to send cash for free. Are you ready?
This Thursday, the minority political parties will face off. Hassan Ayariga, APC, Ivor Green Street, CPP, David Apasira, PNC.